Web 2.0 is basically what we are living in today. So things such as podcasting, blogging, social media, social networking, everything that has to do with...
The key is that it's interactive at this point.
It's interactive, it's connected, but a key element to it, and what is a huge difference between Web 2.0 and then what we are entering into, which will be Web 3, is that all of the social media conglomerates and like basically monopolies at this point, Facebook, Google, you know them all, they control our content, right? We are kind of at their whim. We are at whatever power and features and things, and they own our data, they own the content basically that we are producing. Whereas with Web3, the content creator will have full ownership, full control over what they produce. So it'll have a lot more emphasis on content creation, and that is because of conduits like blockchain. You can control the internet with NFTs and actually have a digital real estate and have a portion and own a portion of the internet, which is fascinating.
I think I have a very unique experience with Web 2.0 in the sense that MySpace came around when I was in 8th grade. Mm-hmm. And so I was kind of the first adolescent age group to be introduced to social media at a really, really prime cognitive puberty level.
Yeah.
So MySpace happened in 8th grade for me, and so I clearly distinctly remember a time when there was nothing, and then all of a sudden there was a social media network. And I remember when I got Facebook in 9th grade, which is when things really, really changed. Mm-hmm. In the sense that I remember being on Facebook for a couple months. I remember when it was only available for college students, and then they opened up to high school, mm-hmm. and then I got invited, and I got on it in 9th grade. And I remember very quickly after using it for a couple months, when I would log into Facebook as a 14-year-old and I didn't have a notification, or nobody liked my photo, or no one posted on my wall, there was no activity, which is the whole point of Web 2.0, mm-hmm. I would not get the hit of dopamine that I wanted, and I would be sad. And every time there was a notification, I got really, really excited, and I remember being really cognizant of it. I remember being so quickly addicted mm-hmm. to the stimulation and the notification and the social validation that came from Facebook. However, the difference between how you and I grew up, because you were not long after me, but I think that by the time you already entered into like a realization that you were social, right? Because I think we become really aware of ourselves in middle school. Mm-hmm. This type of social media was already starting. So you kind of entered into that area of puberty with social media already kind of established. But what's interesting is that during that time frame, social media was not a social network where you knew strangers. There weren't strangers in your home feed. Mm-hmm. You were only friends with people that you were actually friends with in real life. So the images that you were seeing were not face-tuned of models, of people living in fucking Dubai, right? It wasn't a barrage of hundreds of thousands and millions of images on a daily basis of people that you did not know. You didn't follow people you didn't know. So you and I grew up with a social media that was just basically your
actual network.
Your actual physical network online.
And the stuff we posted and the representation of ourselves was pretty similar and accurate to how we were in real life, which is completely evolved. I mean, we don't need to tell you. It's just phenomenal how much we conceal and how much priming we do to make sure we look a certain way on the internet,
or you take 40 photos and you choose one,
right? Which that wasn't the case back then. It was like this fun thing to do with your friends online, and it was a very accurate representation of who you were, for sure.
Yeah, so like Instagram, you post one photo from the night. Mm-hmm. Facebook, you would have a whole album. And so you would just snap done, and it wasn't this intense scrutiny of what you looked like in every photo. You and I talk a lot about how high schoolers today look so beautiful and put together. It's because they are getting information on how to look like that from so many which ways, mm-hmm. and they're being given the opportunity to scrutinize themselves so significantly because the rest of the world is scrutinizing themselves on the internet, that they can then beautify themselves so much more than we ever had access to stuff like that.
It was funny, even the other day, our dad's girlfriend was like, yeah, your dad always sends me these random things, and I say like, oh, who is that, or whose photo is that? And he says, I don't know, it's a random person on the internet. And she's like, why are you looking at random people? And I'm like, Deborah, that is the whole internet. Just like we literally all we were But I mean, I don't really even want to lump Facebook and like what has evolved from like TikTok. I mean, even just that whole progression has been huge because now TikTok has introduced us to this element of you don't need to know anyone. It actually doesn't matter that anyone on this social media platform is your friend or you know them.
So we went from Facebook to having a social network that represented our physical network.
Right.
Then we went from Instagram, which that opened up the door to understanding and knowing strangers, and like the influencer world started. And then Snapchat came out. So Instagram almost dialed back the content we posted on the internet because we weren't posting 30 photos from our Facebook album the night before. All of a sudden we were posting the best one,
right,
which created the highlight reel. And that was fine, right? You would post 3 photos, 4 photos a week, and that's really all people knew about you.
Yeah.
But then when Snapchat came out, it gave everybody the ability to clench that need because reality TV started becoming really rise, and all of a sudden people were being followed by cameras and having their whole lives on television. Snapchat came out and gave us that same ability, but in the power of our own phone. So Snapchat, and then once Instagram took that technology and created stories.
Are you talking about stories or similar to reality TV?
Now all of a sudden our social media profiles went from us posting the 4 best photos of the week to us filming our entire lives and feeling as if we have that fame hit that reality television stars have.
100%.
And then TikTok. Now talk about TikTok.
Regardless of a video component, to me the most fascinating part is that we're looking at strangers. Instagram the whole time was like, obviously you follow, but it's like who you follow, it's who you curate, and that's what Instagram thought people wanted. They thought, oh, you only want to see people that you give permission to get to consume, right? Whereas that was completely not the case, and TikTok flipped that on its head.